Hello and a very warm welcome back to Summit Seashore Birding Adventures and episode 3, Rare Gulls and Eastern Delights. On the 7th of January, travelled down to Devon to see a North American rarity, a laughing gull. The last time I saw one of these was actually in, I think, Texas in 2005, so it's been many years since I've seen one of these. On arrival, the bird had been there and then flew off. I stood chatting with this guy for a little bit, and then we noticed that there was 3 gulls down on the beach, and fortunately, one of them was the laughing gull hanging out with a black-headed gull. So got a little bit of video footage and got some nice looks at this bird. Next came another gull, a Sabine's gull, on the 14th of January down in Hampshire. Bird breeds in North America, on the Arctic and in Greenland, and is scarce here in the UK. It was a very windy day and the bird was a little distant, so I apologise for the quality of these photos, but it was lovely to see it, and especially seeing this bird in breeding plumage. Next came another North American duck, this time a lesser Scaup in Surrey, and this was down at Staines Reservoir. On arrival, the bird hadn't been seen for a while, and took about 30 minutes to find it, and actually spotted it mixed in with some common pochards, and not always easy to tell at distance, but luckily the light fell on this bird, so I got to see the flanks and see the peak at the back of the head, and a wonderful bird to see. A trip down to Norfolk to see a Hume's leaf warbler at Brancaster Marsh. This Hume's leaf warbler did show well. It spent a lot of time feeding on the ground actually, and luckily we had some nice weather, so we got to get some good looks at this rare breeder from the mountains of Asia. From there, I took a little drive up to Chosley Drying Barns. You can't really tell much from this photo, but on the top left of that tree there, that's all covered in ivy and bare branched, was some wonderful corn buntings. So I got some nice looks at them. Headed over to Warham Green's Raptor Roost, where got some really good birds there actually. This barn owl, as you can see here, but also hen harrier. There's a ringtail there. We had merlin, and actually the bird that I was after, that had been coming to the roost for quite a few weeks now, was a juvenile female pallid harrier. It was at distance, but it was great to get this bird, and a really interesting place to visit. Here we have Ruddy Shelduck. This was on the 28th of January at Petersfield Heath and Pond in Hampshire. They do breed in southeast Europe, and they are from a lot further east than that. But there are escapee birds from wildfowl collections. This particular bird was not ringed, so how it's going to be listed or accepted, I don't know, but I'll leave that up to the powers that be. But still, a nice bird to see. On the 4th of Feb, headed down to Dorset, down to White Regis, in search of a Richard's pipit, a bird that I've actually missed, I think, on 2 or 3 occasions now, and so it was wonderful to finally catch up with this bird. On arrival, we had to spend quite a lot of time looking for this particular bird that was meant to be feeding in some paddocks. Met up with a nice group of people. We all were scanning together, and just as everyone was going to walk off and go back up the field, luckily I spotted it, and we all got onto the bird and had I think a good 10 minutes viewing while it was feeding there. But then it did fly off, and that was it for the day. So we were fortunate that we got there just in time to get some views of this bird. But it's great. It was great to get it finally. And from there, we actually went and did a bit of a sea watch at the breakwater just north of the Isle of Portland. And here we had about 10 black-necked grebes. There was a couple of Slavonian out there, over 30 red-breasted merganser, and we had Firecrest calling in the bushes behind us, which was wonderful to see these birds. It was funny actually. I was just looking in the Collins field guide at a couple of the pictures that I got, and I mean it's just perfect example of how good that book is when you look at the details and the features on these birds compared to in the book. They're just like perfect. A trip down to Worth Marshes, a place that we frequented last year for the Eleanor's falcon, produced this wonderful white stork that was overwintering. The consensus is that it is a bird from the continent. It has no leg rings on it whatsoever, so it's not part of a release program or anything like that. I actually went down to see Iceland Gull a couple of times at the Redbridge Wharf near Southampton. The second time I went, I got much better views than the first time of this incredible bird that actually it doesn't breed in Iceland. It's a breeder from Greenland and northern Canada, and a rare winter visitor here. But brilliant to see, lovely bird, got some good footage, and yeah, I was really happy to get another really nice gull. Here's lesser spotted woodpecker. This was seen at the New Forest in Hampshire on the 19th of Feb, and both adults were present. I've done a specific video just on this, so if you go under my list of British birds, you'll see the lesser spotted woodpecker video there if you want to hear more about this bird. Next came a really, really quite rare bird, the eastern yellow wagtail, and this was at Colton Marshes in Suffolk on the 25th of Feb. This is a rare breeder from eastern Russia and northeast China and Alaska. Set off this morning at about 6:15, got here about 9. I've spent about 3.5 hours looking for this bird. The bird I was after was a eastern yellow wagtail. Fantastic bird. It was split in 2019 from yellow wagtail, so it is its own species now. I got the bird early, then the rains came and no one else got on it, and so it was a bit frustrating for a little while, but we relocated the bird, and multiple people got on it and had some fairly good views. Couldn't get any photos with the camera, but got some video footage digiscoping, so happy days. After leaving Colton Marshes, just a 5-minute drive up the road, I went and checked out. There was a sighting of some Bohemian Waxwings, and I had to wait about five minutes before they came down to the berry tree that they were feeding at, and got some lovely views of this bird. We've got a nice North American wader. I have seen White-rumped Sandpiper before, but that was many years ago, and so it was nice to go and see it again. And this was at Slimbridge Wildfowl and Wetlands Trust in Gloucestershire, and was showing well on the South Lake. What was good about this is that you could see it compared against Dunlin, and see the size difference. And one of the great things was to see, um, when you got the right angle, to see how those really long wings cross over at the back. A really good feature to look for. But they are very long winged, these birds, and I guess they need to be, because they really do quite a long migration. From breeding up in the high Arctic islands of Canada, and migrate right down to the southern tip of South America and beyond. So I guess they need those long wings. But a fantastic little wader, really lovely to see, and yeah, it showed well on this particular day. I'm actually down at Linford Arboretum near Thetford in Norfolk at the moment. It's March 2023. Beautiful morning here. Been looking for some brambling and some hawfinch. When I first got there, I wasn't quite sure where to go, but I did find the cattle paddocks that the hawfinch are often seen in the taller trees, and I didn't get them, unfortunately. Got some nice views of redwing there that were feeding on the ground, and then warming themselves in the sun on the tops of the trees. And then on the way back, I do remember seeing good photos of things like hawfinch and brambling, and I thought, well, whenever I see these photos, they're always on the floor and they look quite close, so there must be somewhere else to look. And as I was walking back to the main car park, I noticed Yellowhammer singing and then flying into this particular area. And I went down there and found this little pool of water, and that's where all the birds were hanging out. So I guess that's where sometimes the hawfinch come down to. But I started watching it, and there was lots of things like coal tit and great tit, blackbird and song thrush coming down to the water. There was lots and lots of yellowhammer. I've never seen so many yellowhammer, which was brilliant to see. And I knew that there had been report of brambling, and there were chaffinch there, which is a good sign. And I, on my first look, I never saw any brambling, and then sort of returned back to the pool, and on that second vigil, got wonderful looks at male and female brambling coming in, which was absolutely fantastic. So yeah, really worth the visit down to Linford Arboretum. And then from there we headed over to Titchwell, just for a bit of fun, just to see what was about. And nothing too mega rare over there, just lots of amazing birds like avocet and golden plover. We had these wonderful Brent geese. Good looks at marsh harrier that were displaying over the reed beds. Wonderful look at spoonbill feeding, and there was also this a little bit of footage here of Eurasian curlew, which was great to see. But yeah, all in all, it was a lovely trip out to Titchwell. So that's it. That's brought me sort of up to date now with the birds from 2023. Anyway, I hope you're all having a great birding year, and I'll speak to you again soon.